The world was settling into a soft, deep blue blanket of evening. In the gentle meadow where the day's last flowers closed their petals for a sleepy goodbye, a tiny firefly named Sir Flash was preparing for his very important job. Sir Flash took his job more seriously than any other firefly in the meadow. His job was to be a lantern, a tiny beacon of light in the growing darkness. But Sir Flash had a very big, very secret problem. A problem that made his little heart feel fluttery and worried. You see, Sir Flash did not make a calm, gentle, and steady glow like the older, wiser fireflies. Oh no. When Sir Flash tried to light up, his light came out all wrong. It was not a glow. It was a spark. A frantic, fizzy popping of scared little sparks that flashed for just a moment before fizzling out into darkness again. He would get so excited and so worried about lighting up perfectly that he would try too hard. And all that would come out was a frantic little burst of light that couldn't last. This made Sir Flash very sad. How could he be a good lantern if his light was so unpredictable and scared? Now, this very evening, a group of the smallest meadow creatures had been playing a game of tag near the old oak tree. A little ladybug, a small bumblebee, and 2 tiny ants had played so long and so hard that they did not notice how far they had wandered from their homes. They did not see the sun dipping lower and lower behind the distant hills. When they finally stopped to catch their breath, they looked around, and everything looked strange and shadowy in the twilight. The friendly daisies now looked like tall, strange monsters. The familiar gnarled roots of the tree looked like twisting, sleeping snakes. They were lost. And the path that led back to the soft, safe center of the meadow was now a dark, spooky, and mysterious tunnel under the leaves. The little ladybug's voice trembled as she suggested they needed a light to find their way. The bumblebee buzzed in agreement, a nervous, wobbly kind of buzz. The 2 ants held each other's antennae, feeling very small in the very big, very dark meadow. They needed a hero. They needed a light. And who should be flying past, practicing his very worst, most frantic sparks? It was Sir Flash. Pop! Fizz! Pop, pop. The little creatures looked up, their eyes wide with hope. A firefly. He would light their way. Sir Flash saw their hopeful little faces looking up at him, and he felt a jolt of panic right in his tummy. They needed him. They needed a real light. He had to do it. He had to be bright. He took a deep breath, squeezed his eyes shut, and tried with all his might to make the biggest, steadiest glow he had ever made. But trying too hard never worked for Sir Flash. Instead of a glow, a shower of frantic popping sparks burst from his tail. Pop, pop, fizzle, pop. It was a blink and you miss it light, here one moment and gone the next. It lit up the worried face of the ladybug for a split second, then the nervous antenna of the bumblebee, then nothing but darkness again. It was not a guiding light. It was a confusing strobe of flashes that made the shadows jump and dance in even scarier ways. The little creatures whimpered. This was not helping. The path seemed even darker now. Sir Flash's heart sank down to his little toes. He had failed. He felt so embarrassed and so sorry that he wanted to fly away and hide inside a closed flower forever. But the little ladybug, though she was scared, was also very kind. She spoke in a soft voice, telling Sir Flash that they were lost and needed to find the path home. They needed a light they could follow, a light that would chase the shadows away, not make them dance. Sir Flash knew she was right. His frantic popping sparks were not the answer. They were born from worry and fear. But what was the answer? How could he make a light that lasted? He felt a new kind of determination bubble up inside him. It wasn't a frantic feeling. It was a calm, strong feeling. He was going to help these creatures. He was going to find a way. This was his educational quest. He had to learn the secret of steady light. And so Sir Flash made a promise. He promised the little lost friends that he would find a way to light the path for them. His first idea was to simply try again, but harder. He flew a little way down the dark path, took a huge breath, and focused every single bit of his energy on his tail. He pushed and he strained and he wished for light. The result was a giant, startling pop, followed by a crackle, and then complete darkness. It was the biggest spark yet, but also the shortest. The little bumblebee jumped in surprise. That wasn't a friendly light, it was like a scary surprise. Sir Flash realized that trying harder with lots of frantic energy just made more frantic sparks. This was not consistency, this was chaos. Feeling a little discouraged, Sir Flash landed on a cool, smooth stone to think. What made the other fireflies' lights so steady? He remembered watching them from a distance. They didn't look like they were straining. They looked calm. Their lights would appear softly, stay for a beautiful moment, and then fade softly before appearing again in a lovely, predictable rhythm. It was a gentle in and out, like a peaceful breath. Sir Flash had always been in too much of a hurry to try that. He was always trying to force the light out. This gave him an idea. Maybe consistency wasn't about big, frantic efforts. Maybe it was about small, calm, repeated efforts. He decided to try a new approach. Instead of a big push, he would try a gentle hum. He closed his eyes and thought of the most peaceful thing he knew, the quiet hum of the meadow at noon. He took a soft, slow breath in, and as he breathed out, he imagined that peaceful hum traveling down to his tail. He didn't push. He didn't force. He just gently encouraged, and something amazing happened. A soft, golden light began to glow at the tip of his tail. It wasn't a pop. It wasn't a spark. It was a glow. A real honest-to-goodness glow. It lasted for 1, 2, 3 whole seconds before it gently faded away. It wasn't forever, but it was a start. It was consistent. The little ants clapped their tiny feet together. That was better. But could he do it again? That was the real test. Consistency means you can do it again and again. Sir Flash took another soft, slow breath. He thought of the peaceful hum. He gently encouraged the light. And there it was. The soft golden glow appeared for 1, 2, 3 seconds again. He had done it twice. This was the first challenge on his adventure, learning that consistent light comes from calm, gentle effort, not from frantic pushing. The little creatures were excited now. This was a light they could follow. Sir Flash, feeling a flutter of pride but trying to stay calm, took up his position at the front of the group. "Follow my light," he said, not with words, but with his actions. He flew forward a short distance down the dark path, landed on a friendly-looking leaf, and performed his new trick. Breathe in, breathe out, and glow. 1, 2, 3. The steady light pushed back the shadows just enough to show the path ahead. The ladybug, the bumblebee, and the 2 ants hurried forward to where he was, feeling much braver. But the path was long and winding. Sir Flash couldn't just glow once and be done. He had to do it over and over and over again. This was his second challenge, the challenge of repetition. He had to be consistent. He flew to a twig. Breathe in, breathe out, go. 1, 2, 3. The group moved forward. He flew to a clover leaf. Breathe in, breathe out, glow. 1, 2, 3. The group moved forward. It was becoming a rhythm, a beautiful, predictable rhythm of light and movement. The little bumblebee started to buzz in time with the glow. The ants marched in step. The scary darkness began to feel less scary because they knew, without a doubt, that in just a moment, another friendly, steady light would appear to show them the way. They could trust Sir Flash's light now. It was reliable. Can you help Sir Flash with his rhythm? Can you count with us each time he glows? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. You're being so consistent. They journeyed on like this for some time, the steady rhythm of the light and making them all feel safe and brave. But then, they reached the trickiest part of the path. A cold mist had settled over this area, making the air damp and chilly. The mist seemed to swallow light. When Sir Flash did his calm glow, the mist made it look fuzzy and weak. The light didn't reach as far. The shadows at the edges of the path seemed to creep closer. The little ladybug shivered. Sir Flash felt an old, familiar feeling in his tummy, panic. His calm rhythm was threatened. What if his light wasn't strong enough for the mist? What if he let everyone down? He felt the urge to try harder, to push out a big, frantic spark to punch through the mist. But then he remembered what happened last time he tried that. A big spark would just disappear instantly in the fog, leaving them in deeper darkness. Frantic effort would not work here. This was his third and biggest challenge, to trust what he had learned, even when it was difficult. So Sir Flash did not panic. He landed on a large, stable mushroom cap. He closed his eyes. He took a deeper, even calmer breath. He thought of the peaceful hum, but he also thought of the warm sun and the happy faces of his new friends counting on him. He didn't push the light. He nurtured it. He invited it. And the glow that came out was the same consistent, steady light, but it felt warmer. It felt stronger. It didn't push the mist away, but it held its ground within the mist. A perfect, golden beacon of consistency that refused to flicker or fail. 1, 2, 3, and this time it even lasted for 4 seconds. The mist could not beat a calm and consistent light. The creatures hurried through the misty patch, their eyes locked on Sir Flash's unwavering glow. They trusted it completely, and soon they had passed through the mist. And what did they see? The familiar friendly sights of the main meadow, the cozy stump where the ants lived, the bright red flower where the ladybug slept, and the warm hive where the bumblebee's family was waiting. They were home. They were safe. The little creatures were so happy and so grateful to Sir Flash. They didn't cheer with loud words, but they surrounded him, their faces beaming with gratitude and joy. The ladybug gave a happy little wiggle. The bumblebee did a joyful loop-the-loop in the air. The ants did a little happy dance. Sir Flash didn't need words to understand. He felt a warmth inside him that was even brighter than his glow. He had done it. He hadn't just found a light, he had found a skill. He had learned that consistency, calm, repeated, reliable effort, was far more powerful than frantic, scared, once-in-a-while effort. He was no longer Sir Flash the scared spark. He was Sir Flash the steady glow. And from that night on, he was known as the very best lantern in the entire meadow, because everyone knew they could always count on his light. His light was brave because it was calm. His light was strong because it was consistent. And he learned that lasting light, just like lasting courage, is always found in calmness and consistency. What a wonderful adventure we had tonight, learning all about being calm and consistent with Sir Flash. It makes you wonder what we'll learn about in our next adventure, doesn't it? Will we learn about being a good friend? Or perhaps about being patient? Join us next time to find out. 5. Moral core. Lasting success and courage are achieved through calm, steady, and consistent effort, not through frantic, panicked force.